Hi, I'm Kalen.
And I'm Jacob.
Welcome to Half-Life Havoc, our undergraduate thesis project for McMaster Multimedia, supervised by Jeffrey Rockwell.
Our basic idea was to do a lesson on video game physics set within a game engine. So in this case, we used Half-Life 2.
A lot of times in new games, you blow through the game so fast that you don't really have a chance to think about the physics and think about what's going on. So we wanted to slow that part down and give you a chance to play with the physics. You'll see there's a sign above the door to each one of the rooms that has an indication of what's in the room as well as a number. We recommend you follow that order for full effect.
Also, each one of the rooms has a commentary note at the entrance that explains what's going on in the room, as well as some of them having additional commentary nodes inside that just give any more information we want the player to have.
To activate a commentary node, put the crosshairs over it and press the use button, E by default. To deactivate it while it's going, do the same thing. So have fun in the mod.
Enjoy! Alright, so welcome to our Plinko-esque puzzle room. This is the first puzzle that was built for the Half-Life Havoc mod.
It's inspired by a portion of the leaked Half-Life 2 alpha.
I hope Valve doesn't get mad at us for that one. Sorry, Gabe. This was kind of a sign to us that the project was going to be a success. Before it was built, we weren't too sure, but once we had the bodies and the barrels dropping, we knew we were onto something.
You'll notice when you drop things one at a time that they fall exactly the same way each time.
One of the problems with video game physics is that there's no randomness to them. Every time the engine's going to generate the same numbers and calculate them in the same way, which will lead to the same results.
You can, however, introduce randomness as the user if you press the button very quickly. That way the physics objects interact with each other and the slight discrepancies in timing of button presses cause a different result each time. This room is about water and buoyancy. When you press the button, you'll see a bunch of stuff fall into the water, and you can see that it floats back up or doesn't float at various speeds because the models each have a mass that is physically calculated or simulated to do that. One of the problems with the water is when adding it to a level, instead of making a container and filling it with water, you basically just make a box that looks like water when viewed from the top.
So the water graphics are quite convincing while you're running through the level, but there's some real limitations to them. One of those limitations is there's no easy way to get a side view of the water, so it looks great from the top, but if there was an aquarium that you wanted to see from the side, it wouldn't be easy to do. And another is the way that the ripples are generated when you throw an object through the water. Instead of a real 3D physics calculation, it's a texture trick that's generated from the point of contact. So this room deals with explosions and how they affect physics entities, both how they push them and move them around and how they damage them and break them apart.
You'll see that when you trigger the explosion, things move around fairly realistically, but when physics objects are damaged, they're either broken or not broken, so the damage is much less realistic than the movement from the explosion.
You'll notice that when you trigger the explosion, the bench breaks into a bunch of little pieces, but everything will break into the same little pieces, and those little pieces can't get any more broken.
And other stuff doesn't break.
Alright, so this room also deals with physics entities and how they break apart, in particular glass. So pull out your gun and shoot through some of the glass and see if you can get the objects that are resting on the top layer to fall down and break some of the lower layers.
Try leaving the top layer intact, shooting through the two below it so the objects fall and break through the fourth layer, which slows their acceleration sufficiently so they don't break through the bottom layer.
Also, you can grab some of the guns that you'll get in the shooting gallery that you'll encounter later on and bring them back here to see how the glass reacts to them.
The rocket launcher's a blast.
That was awful.
You can see the glass fragments fairly realistically where things go through it, but much like the explosion, when things damage it, it's either broken or not broken, and once it's broken, even by a tiny bullet, nothing can rest on the glass anymore, it all breaks through.
So this room's just another chance for you guys to play around with the explosions and the gravity physics in the game. Push the button a couple times and launch the barrel up into the air and try to land it on one of the platforms. So when you push the button, it'll load up the dominoes into the level. Try standing on the carpet, holding down the shift key to get a running start, and knocking over the dominoes with some momentum. You can also take the gravity gun or any of the other weapons you get from the shooting gallery and use those to start the chain reaction.
This is our shooting gallery, which doesn't have any specific sort of physics thing to show. It's basically just allowing you to experiment with the ballistics of the guns and shoot stuff and blow stuff up, and you can feel free to take these guns and shoot other stuff in the level if you like.
Lost biosignal for protection team unit X-ray. Unit D-service. Remaining units contained.
this room's to show how textures work. They're more than just visual data. They have sound and a few other effects associated with them. So try some different weapons on the various textures on the wall.